Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 1983 Volkswagen Golf GTI. Now this was based on the Mark I Golf, and this version of the Mark I Golf debuted in 1975 at the Frankfurt Motor Show, and lasted in production until 1983. And 462,000 of these were made, making this the most popular hot hatch of the time, even if it wasn't quite the first of its type, as the Simca 1100 Ti came out earlier. But yeah, this wasn't just a small one-off like other hot hatchbacks of the time, like the Talbot Sunbeam Lotus or the Dodge Shelby Omni. This was, a hit, because so 462,000 out of the 6 million or so that were produced from the Golf. So yeah, not a real rare car, but it is still nonetheless a special version of the Golf, as it looks slightly different to the normal one. It's got that red frame around the grille, it's got a bigger front splitter at the front, and it's got wider wheel arches with those plastic black bits to help cover up the wider tyres. And mechanically it's different. Not only does it have a bigger engine with more power and more torque, but it also has a lower ride height, which was reduced by 15mm or 0.6 of an inch. The original brakes were replaced with ventilated brake discs, and there were anti-roll bars added in the front and rear. And all making up for a pretty damn good hot hatchback, quite frankly. And the fact it's based on a mass-produced car means that it's also, not something that's going to break down, not something that's going to be unreliable in general, because they made 6 million Golfs, so they were going to get used to making them really rather good. And because it is based on an ordinary hatchback, it's practical as well, so you've got plenty of speed, power and performance, but you also got practicality, so you can use it as a family car, or you can use it as a sports car, or both at the same time really, because it has a pretty damn good engine as well for the time. 1.8 litre inline 4 engine producing 112 horsepower and 109 pounds-feet of torque, which is, not the most powerful hot hatchback of the time. Like I said, the Talbot Sunbeam Lotus sure had more, and the Dodge Shelby Omni certainly had more, but this is, like I said, a more mass-produced car. Those other two, were really rather rare. They only made a few thousand of them, whereas obviously there were more than nearly 500,000 of these, so yeah, you were a damn sight more likely to get one of these. And you might be wondering why I'm reviewing this car, because obviously we've had a GTI Golf on previous Forza games for a long time now, but we have not had this version. We've usually had the Rabbit GTI, which is the US version, which had less power and really rather quite big 5-mile-an-hour bumpers, even more so than the ones that are on this. So it's about time that we had the original European Golf GTI, and even more so considering we're now in the UK on this game, which is pretty much hot hatchback territory. So yeah, let's get out onto the road and see what it can do. So yeah, 112 horsepower on a car that only weighs 1,909 pounds makes for a pretty good recipe, to be honest. Heavy cars with little power are never a good thing. So yeah, for this car to weigh as little as it does while still being a mass-produced practical car makes for a really fun driving experience, to be honest, as its lightweightness makes it nimble. It means it's better in terms of braking, and it can use the most of that power and torque without having to waste all that much in terms of weight. Unfortunately, later Golfs, even though they did get more powerful, did inevitably get heavier. It was only really with the recent post-2000 ones that they actually got the power to match the weight, outside of obviously the likes of the VR6 versions. But yeah, this is the original, and it's probably the better version of the GTI, to be honest. Yes, it's not going to be able to stand up to modern handling or modern top speeds, but acceleration wise it's still pretty potent, even compared to modern standards and compared to other cars of the time. It's easily able to rival them. Granted, it's not quite as quick as the Dodge Shelby Omni or the Talbot Sunbeam Lotus, but those two cars were made only in their thousands, not in their hundreds of thousands like this, and even more popular versions of like so the Ford Fiesta XR2 could not compete against this, as that had, yes, it had less weight, but it had a significant amount of less power and torque. So yeah, this is really up there, to be honest, and really glad it's finally on a Forza game in its original European form, not the less powerful, slightly uglier version that they got in the US. And acceleration wise, it's no slouch. 0 to 60 in 8.084 seconds, 0 to 100 in 26.2 seconds, and we're going to a top speed of 118 miles an hour, which is fairly good, especially when you consider it's, you know, still a practical, reliable car. So yeah, very little in the way of compromises with this vehicle, to be honest, because you can use it as a family car, and then as soon as you're, you know, done with any of your family, you can just hoon it around the B roads and have plenty of fun with it. And yeah, that's easy to see why this car was such a hit. Volkswagen really wasn't expecting it to be. They only had about 5,000 that they were expecting to sell, and then they ended up selling nearly 500,000, and the Golf GTI is still around today. So yeah, incredible car, really rather fun to drive as well. Can't imagine that the standard version, even if it had this engine, would be as fun to drive as I imagine those anti-roll bars, better brake discs, and lower ride height really did make all the difference in terms of handling. And yeah, even though granted its capabilities aren't quite as impressive as they would have been back in the day, it's nonetheless still a fun and rather nifty little car to just hoon around. And considering it is a front wheel drive car, you can really rather get the rear end flying out with ease, which just shows how little this car actually weighs and how fast it can actually get. Nonetheless, yeah, I just hope that it is going to be on the next Forza Motorsport game, really, because I imagine this car will be a hoot to drive around the track. Anyway, thanks for watching. Highly recommend driving this car. I didn't really imagine they'd put the original Golf GTI on a Forza game, but I'm glad they did, and yeah, it's well worth the wait. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.